Welcome. This is Joseph Rebello, known to many of you on the internet and through the martial arts world as Kenpojoe. Today we will be exploring the various aspects of one of the many traditional Chinese weapons and the modern unique innovations in regards to the three-section staff. The three-section staff, or samjiquan, is known predominantly as a traditional Chinese weapon that is taught in the intermediate and advanced levels of the martial arts. The reason it's taught in the intermediate levels and as well as the advanced levels is simply stated, before you can learn how to wield this weapon, you have to have a good grasp of anywhere from 5 to 8 other weapons in regards to basic overall theories and concepts of motion, and then apply the movements of those given weapons onto the three-section staff. That's the key. So when a person comes up to me and says to me, well, I want to learn three-section staff, the first question out of my mouth is, well, what other weapons have you learned? That way the student can get an overall grasp and concept from those other weapons to cross-reference that information onto this particular tool of the trade in the Chinese martial arts. The samjiquan traditionally is made of waxwood. And I'm going to move a little bit closer here. If you can see the links here, traditionally the links themselves are 3 links, and sometimes I'll show you later on in this DVD, the use of 5 links forming a flower pattern. That there's one additional link on each side of the center link to aid in entrapping and also a ringing sound for effect. And that also is a cross-reference to traditional elements of the sanctity of life in regards to Buddhism. Now, of course, now in modern times, you'll see many people have ball-bearing swivels in relationship to the weapon. I always recommend start off with a traditional Chinese waxwood staff with the traditional links, because what happens at certain points is the links will lock. When I twist that to this point, I'm going to move a little closer once again, this weapon locks at that point. If I try to turn it any more, you see how the links bind? So this actually creates a locking action that keeps the staff straight in regards to its motion. Now, when we look at the samjiquan, again, first of all, the first aspect we want to understand are grips. There are only 3 or 4 basic grips taught in regards to the samjiquan. One is both hands palm down. The other is left hand up, right hand down. The third, obviously, is right hand up, left hand down. And then occasionally in transition, you will see both hands palm up. This is the rarest of all 4 of the positions. Now, when we begin the use of the samjiquan, we're going to start off with the basic palm down position. There are many different actions that you can perform with the samjiquan, a three-section staff. The first simple action from this action is a simple rowing motion forward. Notice how my elbows are anchored as the weapon moves forward. Once I feel comfortable with that motion, then I simply reverse the motion, moving in towards myself. Now, you can catch one of the weapons or 2 of the weapons from this action. From a side view, moving forward, and then moving back. Again, moving up, catch and guard. That is your first basic drill that you should work on. It's a very simple drill to work on in relationship to both of the staffs, end sections, I should say, of the staff, moving forward and back. Another simple action you can do from this motion is to start with an individual single circle, moving forward, stalling in a hang position, and then reversing the weapon back. Loop, catch. Forward down, stall, looping back, catch. Once you understand that, simply switch your other staff. Notice the hand is palm up in this fashion. I can utilize the action going forward and down, or I can roll it coming back and then loop and catch the weapon like so. Now, I can also, of course, do the same action, palm down, loop, catch. This simple drill will initiate you to understanding how to use the center section of the staff in regards to basic circular motion. Once we understand that, placing our lead hand in a palm up position. Matter of fact, let's start with palm down, just to give us a simple established base. We have a circle moving forward, a circle moving back. This in turn will introduce us to the figure eight action. If we're going to do a forward, downward figure eight, we start one circle here and then move across. So on this side, this is a downward circle. On this side, this is an upward circle. Upward, downward, upward, downward, upward, downward, upward, downward. And we can add additional circles onto each side of the figure eight. 1, 2, 3, cross. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, stall. Now, at this point, we can also reverse this motion in an upward figure eight. Coming across, back and forth, circling the motion, and then go into a stall action. Again, circling around, and again, we can work this with multiple circles. On each side. And of course, if we can do it with our left side, we can do it just as easily with our right. Again, starting first of all with a single circle, moving forward. Notice how I keep the weapon directly on my sides. So again, striking in and down, out and down. And I can do several circles here. I can cross, I can do several circles here, and overlap. Stall. Then I can reverse the circle, an upward figure eight. And I can do several circles here, pulling it across, several circles here, and catch. How do I control these various wild motions? Simple. By utilizing passive action and make the course of the weapon predictable. Therefore, I can predict where the weapon moves on various indigenous paths in the course of a given action. As we mentioned previously, palm up, circle forward, or palm down, circle forward. My goal is to keep this weapon on a vertical plane directly to my side. That's the key. So if I stall the weapon and catch, I am in no threat or danger of being struck. If we understand these basic concepts, we can then elaborate on them. So right now I'm holding the center section. Now with one action, I can move to grasp the middle section from the two end sections, and by utilizing the stalling motion and additional circular motion, catch. Now that being said, what we're going to do right now, we're going to go into one of the important actions that we just introduced you to, the figure eight. Now initially we did it with one section each side, performing the figure eight, downward figure eight action and the upward figure eight action. Well, now we can also utilize the center section to create a figure eight overlapping circle as well. Well, in order to do that, first of all, we're going to introduce you to the motion with the staff. So that way we can do it in sufficient slow motion so that you, the student, can understand what's going on in the course of the action.